Hello, everyone. Welcome to INDUS Testnet launch. Hi, I'm Yutika. I'm the marketing lead for Serva. So Serva is a deep tech Web3 venture, and we are the ones who are building Moi. So Moi stands for My Own Internet. So before we go on into details about what INDUS Testnet is and what you can do here, and other things, we'll have a brief introduction of Moi. It'll be given by our founders. Our founder Ananta Krishnan is here. He'll be walking you through this vision for personalized internet and why a need for personalized internet was felt in the first place. Then we have Ganesh here, our CTO. He'll be taking you through how we plan to implement this a vision of ours. Then we have a developer from our development team. We have Rahul, Sai, Pankaj, Arun. They'll be taking you through how our products work. You will learn how you can create Moi ID. It's a ZKP solution by Moi. You will learn how you can use a storage solution. And most importantly, you will learn how you can become validators and get more tokens. So some of you might not be developers and you might be wondering, like, is this event for us? Should we attend this event? So the main issue here is that we feel the internet is not ready for future. That's why we believe in personalizing internet and making it adaptable for the future generational needs. So we invite you to be the flag bearers of this revolution and join us here. You will learn how you can become validators. We have some amazing giveaways planned. I will talk more about this towards the end of the event, and you can claim some amazing NFTs as well. So stay tuned. I'll hand it over to Ananta, who will take us through his vision for internet or for personalized internet.
Thank you, Geetika, for the introduction. Welcome, everyone. I'm glad you're all here. I'm Ananta Krishnan, founder and CEO of Serva Labs, and I take care of strategy and architecture at Moi. So how we got started on this project, the genesis of this project was about 4.5 years back. We as a team tried to build real-life business applications on the existing protocols that were around that time. And pretty soon, we found out that there were some foundational limitations and problems in those protocols, which made it very difficult for practical implementation of business solutions to enterprises, and we're not able to provide the kind of user experiences that people wanted. So that was the genesis that got us thinking. And we felt, how do you take something this transformational and this groundbreaking and make sure it's practical and usable by everyone? So in doing so, what we did was we wanted to look at where the world has come today. And it was pretty apparent for us early on that networks have become all powerful in the world at that point in time. And we were all getting more digitally connected, more so now than in 2017, but it was still relevant in 2017. And more importantly, the interactions between the participants in the network was creating a personality which was resembling real human networks. And this was a realization we had then. We called it a digitally interacting world. In 2017, you have a new name today for that. It's called the metaverse, but this was really a vision that we had in 2017 about where the world was and where it was heading. So then we wanted to look at what was the foundational problem that was causing this inefficiency in the network. And more importantly, how can we address the emerging digitally interacting world? So to understand that, we took a step back and looked at what the problems were, or what the evolution of digital and computing has been. And if you look at it, when we started this journey 70 years back with the mainframe, the primary purpose of computing at those days was for automation, efficiency, and speed. So the role of technology was primarily supporting, and there was no recognition of a customer or a participant or a user in the machine. And that was a very automation-centric world. And then with the advent of TCP/IP in 1970 or so, computers could talk to each other in a very intelligent way. Networks were starting to form, and we could do more transactions which were of better sophistication and started slowly to look like human interactions. And in this generation, as you know, several platforms got created, like the Googles, the Orkuts, and the Facebooks of the world. And the definition of a customer became central to everything that the network did. And the role of technology moved from a supporting artist to an enabling artist. So TCP/IP created an information-enabled world and has provided a lot of benefits in the last 20 years and created a lot of value for everyone. But if you look at it, all of them were intermediated by the platform or the system itself, creating a kind of asymmetry in the whole model. So the technology moved from supporting to an enabling artist during this phase. And then the last maybe about 8 to 10 years, there has been an evolution into Web3. The previous one is what is called Web2, which is more client server. We have moved into what is called Web3. It's basically moved into a peer-to-peer networking model. And in this model, the sophistication and the kind of interactions that people do got closer to human interactions. Now, you will all agree with me that in the last 10 years or so, computers have become a central part of our lives. So computers are no longer a supporting artist, it's a central artist. And this peer-to-peer computing growth was based on some old peer-to-peer information transfer technologies like Napster. And it became very interaction-centric. And now role of technology became an integrated player in our lives. So it from supporting to enabling to integrated. So this made most of the interactions that we do and we are going to do to be very human-centric. So that's where we are today. So we are in an environment where networks are starting to do human-centric interactions. Next. So when we did that, can you go back, Balaji? Yeah. So when we did that, I think, what does it mean, right? So we are in a model where networks are trying to do human-like interactions in a digitally interacting world. So what does that mean, right? So what it means is basically human-like interactions are value transfers, and value transfers are primarily personal. Now, contrast this to what information transfers that's been going on for the last 60, 70 years. So to give you an example of a value transfer, my 1963 Mustang is very valuable to me, but may not be valuable to you. Whereas the digital art that you have with you may be very valuable to you, but not valuable to me. So value transfers are the primary domain of human interactions, and they are personal. Now, if you're going to build a metaverse which supports human-like interaction, which seems to be the primary purpose of the upcoming metaverse, the ability to personalize values and facilitate all type of asset transfers is key. So if you look at the initial Web3 projects, say for example, Bitcoin, the only asset which got transferred was economic. But then in real life, when you do human-like interactions, you hardly do all your interactions are not economic. You do all other types of interactions and all other type of asset transfers that need to happen. So that's a primary need when you move into this world of metaverse and digitally interacting model. Now, the newer protocols like Ethereum and have made an attempt to solve this by creating a programmatic layer that we call as smart contracts, which allows the ability for a user to transfer multiple values in addition to the economic value. But then given it is systemic and programmatic, it's got its own limitations. It can't be dynamic. It is limited by the capabilities of the network. So there is a foundational problem today on how to transfer multiple values, which are personal, across the network. In addition to that, in the upcoming metaverse, like what you do in real life, you need to be able to personalize the infrastructure and the user experience based on your preference. So let's take a very simple example. Today, I go to a vacation. I have my vacation photographs. In real life, I store it in my drawer at home. And then I have a legal contract, which is very valuable to me. I store it in a safe in a bank. So if you're going to do human-like interactions, users need to have the ability to personalize the user experiences based on their individual risk preference and risk tolerance. Now, this is not file management is just one example, but then you should be also able to do where you want to compute, what level of trust you need in your interactions. All of that need to be based on the individual's preference for interactions to become human-like, which is what we're trying to attempt in the metaverse. And finally, you need to be able to support billions of digital interactions. And today, many centralized systems and also some of the existing Web3 protocols claim to be able to do that. But the question is across how many nodes? So probably a few hundred nodes. But then if you're really going to build an internet of value, which is what an metaverse is, you need to be able to execute billions of digital interactions across millions of nodes spread across the globe, so that the regional and the personal characteristics of a geography can be taken into account when value transfers happen and propagated across the network. So the key is for metaverse and the digitally interacting world to be effective, personalization has to be a fundamental dimension of computing and the internet, and interaction centricity is the key. This ability of the network to be personalized fundamentally based on the user's requirement is what we call as the personalized internet. Now, how have we done this? How have we solved this problem of creating a personalized internet? The foundational recognition that we had is most of internet today is all about information transfer. Information transfer typically is system-centric and not participant-centric. But human interactions are primarily value transfers. And all of the Web3 players today and what we are doing as a society is to move to a model where digital can support human-like interaction and support value transfers. Now, the system-centric nature of internet today is enabled by two very large ordering mechanism, which act as the intermediary to find state or create value in the network, called Nakamoto consensus and Paxos, both of which allow you to recognize and transfer value in a decentralized network or a distributed network. But it's a very system-centric ordering. The intermediary who decides whether it's 50%, 70%, whatever the number is, whatever the resources, the intermediary who decides what the value is and how it is recognized is system-centric. So this creates a foundational problem of concurrency and the ability for you to manage the system very effectively. What we have come up with is a very participant-centric model where the intermediary is the participant themselves. So because the value is personal, by introducing something called context into computing, we have created a participant-centric ordering mechanisms. So the value transfers become personal and concurrent across the network, the way human interactions operate. So to sum it all, I think a lot of us know what Web 2 and Web 3 is. Web 2 gives you the ability for client server. It provides you a lot of availability. So a centralized capability provides you availability, and that's great. But then it has got a lot of control on the user. And Web 3, as it stands today, provides a lot of security because of the amount of network nodes that are available. But then it introduces quite a bit of risk around availability. So what we have done with Moi is we have introduced a new digital order based on the participant, which we call as Krama. And I've come up with a new technology called context addressability, which allows the individual and participants to be the intermediary of their own interactions and also solve the problem of personalized value transfer, thereby enabling the ability for users to own and control the network the way they want. In today's world, users adjust to the world the network behaves. In the new world, the network will behave the way the user wants it to, based on Moi. This is what we call as personalized internet, and hope you can all join in this journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ananta, for sharing your vision for a more personalized internet. Hey everyone, I'm Ganesh, and I'm here to walk you through how we plan to implement the new digital order and enable the personalized internet for all of us. So primarily, when we talk about implementing this digital order, it will be through an L1 protocol called Moi. Moi is personalized and participant-centric. What we mean by personalized is that each user can create their own self-sovereign identities with the help of a BIP44 interoperable wallet powered by ZKP. Not only that, but each user can decide where their data is stored and also define how many replications that they want for each data stored in the network. Apart from the identity and data management, each user gets to define their own assets or their own values and personalize the way in which you transfer these assets or values. And the best part of it all is that all of these interactions happen in your own chain. How do we make that happen? We make that happen with a more participant-centric approach instead of the system-centric approach that Ananta just walked you through. We collect or leverage the digital footprint that each participant leaves when they interact with the network that we call as a context, and use that context from one wallet to another, and then put these nodes as part of the context and as these nodes to associate into settling that interaction. Each node as part of the context of that wallet comes together every time that wallet has signed a transaction and expects the interaction to be settled. That interaction, when settles, creates a new block-like structure, but much better, called tesseract, which gets appended to your own chain. And that's how we've been able to help you build your own blockchain. More than that, we want to increase the network security compared to other traditional blockchain networks and minimize the collusion as much as possible. To make that happen, we add a bunch of random nodes to your context to make sure that neither you nor the counterparty nor the nodes associated in settling your transaction can collude and come up with ulterior outcome for that interaction. With the help of these personalized and participant-centric abilities of the protocol, we are the world's first context-aware peer-to-peer network, which is already live, with a goal to set up and bootstrap at least 200,000 nodes bootstrapped by community members like you and I. And this network should support at least 1 million transaction throughput per second. It's not just about the network, but it's also about making sure that there is survivability for Web 2 and Web 3 applications in the Moi ecosystem. To make sure that we are compatible, forward compatible, as well as backward compatible, there are interoperability layers which work within the Moi protocol to support Web 2 and Web 3 applications. Next slide. So to make this happen, Moi protocol is now a bunch of components working together in a very modular fashion, all powered by one core protocol, CRAMA. CRAMA is the new digital ordering algorithm, which relies on the participants' network context to provide identity management, to provide data management, and also to provide asset definition and asset transfers as well. We will go through each one of these 13 and growing list of components in the future in drill down sessions where you interact directly with our core developers and ask your questions and learn more about Moi. Let's try to understand one simple use case of Moi. Alice is a user who would like to transact with Bob for $10 in exchange for a cup of coffee. But at the same time, Alice also wants to interact with Carlos in exchange for a house with $1 million in transaction. In current traditional systems like blockchain and Web 2, Alice does not have the ability to differentiate her user experience for both the transactions. I mean that a $10 and $1 million transaction has the same user experience today on the internet. Now, Alice, if uses Moi, can actually customize the user experience for a $10 transaction by requiring the minimal context of Alice and Bob necessary to settle that $10 transaction, but at the same time require maximum availability of the nodes in her context as well as Carlos' context to settle that $1 million transaction, which is commercially heavy. So with Moi, each user gets the ability to differentiate their user experience for each and every interaction based on commercial weight of the transaction or any other parameter that they find suitable according to their business requirements. This is made possible with CRAMA and tesseracts. As you can see in the picture, Alice gets a tesseract, Bob gets a tesseract. And at the same time, for the $1 million transaction, Alice gets another tesseract along with another tesseract, similar tesseract being appended to Carlos's blockchain. So now you see 3 separate chains, each representing every user. Moving on. This is a very high-level picture of the Moi ecosystem. As you can see from the bottom, community members like you and I host our Moi client to form the Moinet, on top of which all the middleware applications which support users' identity management, storage management, and asset management comes into picture, which are directly implemented on top of the Moi protocol. And on top of that, retail applications are being built in the industries like fintech and healthcare and so on and so forth. Along with that, or in parallel to that, enterprise applications can also be built on top of Moi protocol, because they can use their on-prem infrastructure or cloud infrastructure and host their own Moi clients and create a private version to build enterprise applications on top of them. The best part here is the private implementations are future compatible, and in such a way that if the companies rely or wishes to rely on the public network in the future for provenance sake, then they can actually choose to do that as well. So Moi is that flexible for both retail as well as enterprise applications. Going on. So in summary, what I would like to say is we as a team and a protocol, we've been able to digitally rethink on the fundamentals of blockchain and come up with new data structures and methods and a new context-based ordering scheme, and implement a new consensus algorithm from scratch to help you personalize your experience on the internet and provide a new network stack. Next slide. Let's talk about the subject matter of this call, or the agenda, the most important agenda of this call, INDUS. So INDUS is the first incentivized testnet of Moi. It's a multi-phase incentivized testnet, which will have multiple rollouts, where we encourage public to come together, try out the technology that we have been building and the stack of applications surrounded in the ecosystem, host your own node, become a validator, and get rewarded for your early involvement in our community. Our goals are to primarily democratize the validator industry and make sure that we obtain industry feedback from all kinds of personnel from all walks of life, and ensure that we establish a people-first network by you, of you, and for you. To achieve this, we have a few more rollouts in our mind. Currently, we already are in the second release, and we have 4 more planned. As you can see in the screen, right now we support basic provenance, proof of storage. We just added incentivization so that nodes get incentivized for their early commitment to the ecosystem as part of the testnet. And we also now support a Voyage or a blockchain like Explorer that you will learn more about from Arun in the coming parts of this show. But apart from that, we have 4 more releases, primarily focusing on helping you to produce tesseracts, use proof of context to achieve consensus, and for smart contract for developers to use smart contract capabilities to build their business logic on top of Moi and deploy those as applications as well, and see some performance optimizations based on your own feedbacks that you provide to us as a community, and see more sophistications at a network level with the introduction of staking, inflation management, and better total cost of ownership or fee mechanisms, and governance and reputation mechanisms, and see a more mature network ecosystem and developer ecosystem. This is a quick summary of what we have to offer in the INDUS testnet. Now, I would like to invite Rahul to walk you through what exactly you can build on top of the INDUS testnet today.
Thank you so much, Ganesh. Hi guys, I'm Rahul. I'm a protocol developer at Moi. I contribute to the consensus and networking stack of Moi protocol. So today I'm here to give a glimpse of the solutions that we have built and how you can use those solutions to build applications. We at Serva Labs firmly believe that a general purpose FAT protocol or a general purpose execution environment cannot cater to various business needs. So we are always striving to build technologies or solutions which make the best use of blockchain technology, and at the same time are very practical to use and integrate with your existing tech infrastructure. So keeping in this mind, we have come up with 4 innovative solutions, namely identity solution, storage solution, provenance solution, and finally a logic or smart contract-based solution. So I'll get started with identity. As Ganesh and Ananta brought up, we are a participant-centric network. So participant is the cornerstone of our protocol, right? So Moi natively supports a decentralized identity layer called Moi ID. Moi ID helps users to own and control their digital persona. And it also enables zero-knowledge-based interactions and verifications for all real and digital world interactions. Apart from this, MOI also supports various IAM capabilities like single sign-on, access management, single source access management, and etc. Though we are constantly working to improve and enhance the access management capabilities. At this standpoint, developers can register their applications into MOI and integrate the APIs, whereas users can use the same identity across all the registered applications. It's very flawless. It's like as easy as logging into a Web2 solution, right? So you just use username and password, no hustle and bustle to manage your seed phrases and etc. ZKP takes care of everything under hood, right? So users can use the same, as I told you, users can use the same identity across all the registered applications. Along with that, they can control various parameters, privacy parameters with respect to that application. So we have various SDKs across JavaScript, React, and Flutter. Currently, these are available on request. You can contact us on Discord to get access to this APIs. And this is great. How exactly this is being used? In 2020, back in COVID times, a few people have used MOI to build a contact tracing application called Tracy, which uses MOI to log in and maintain user private data, privacy of the data that they have been uploading to the system. Right, and you can also build a lot of cool use cases with MOI, which can though both Web2 and Web3 use cases. At last, I would say MOI is ID for life. It's the same identity that you can use for both real and digital world interactions, which can be easily integrated across Web2 and Web3 solutions out there. Being said that, I'll go to the next solution that we have built. So the next one is basically storage. For example, over the past few years, there have been a growing demand for an immutable file storage system. All right, keeping this in mind, we have developed a file storage system called MOI. MOI is a context-addressed immutable file storage system, which is based on IPFS. Right, MOI guarantees data availability, but meanwhile, it also maintains complete user ownership and control. Being said that, MOI allows you to perform all basic, it gives you all the basic CRUD operation capabilities on the files. And along with that, it also helps you to manage metadata. For example, you can access the files by their names. You can maintain versioning of the files. You can even choose what type of encryption that you want to use for each file in the system, right? So apart from that, for developers, you can use MOI to join the public infrastructure of MOI, or you can also set up your own infrastructure, set up a private cluster using your own infrastructure, but at the same time, you can also connect to the global MOI network. Right, so the files that you uploaded will be guaranteed in your private network, but at the same time, they'll also be available across the global network with the encryption that you have chosen. Right, so this is it. We have built. MOI has been live by quite some time. There are cool real world use cases which have been built on MOI, which are using MOI. One such use case is basically the code ledger. This application uses MOI to store the code proceedings, the documents, and evidences. And we have APIs to use MOI, and it is already live. Coming to the next solution that we have built. Today 90% of the use cases, the blockchain use cases or Web3 use cases, need provenance capabilities, right? So, and smart contracts are the costliest way to provenance the data, right? I hope most of you believe or agree with me on that particular point, right? Because you see a lot of gas costs going crazily up, right? So to solve this, we have come up with a unique solution, simple and unique solution, practical solution called storage proofs. This solution can be used where your application needs data availability. At the same time, immutability and public provenance is guaranteed. I would like to explain this with one example. Let us assume every year end, when companies close their books of accounts, all ledger entries and proofs can be provenanced using this solution. So any change made to these ledger and entries will have a clear audit trail. Right, they can put all these ledger into the databases. Along with the same time, they can also provenance these ledger entries into a public network. So when it is an audit trail, it is clearly visible. I would take one more example. For example, let us assume you're building a file. You have a file tracking system built on SAP, now you want to, or an invoicing system built on SAP. This application basically, you would like to provenance some invoicing that you have done to your customer or your client, right? So today you can use this solution, basically just integrate the APIs available out there, and you can easily integrate with ERP and SAP systems and make the best use of blockchain and provenance technology. All this data is publicly available, verifiable, and secured using cryptography, right? And we have built one of the other cool use cases that you can build, as all of you know, that there's an NFT marketplaces which are going crazy today. So we have built an NFT marketplace which uses the storage proofs to show the fact that you have purchased an NFT, and NFT has some sort of metadata like edition and etc. And there are a lot of cool use cases that you can build using storage proof. Especially, you can easily integrate your Web2 applications. Now I'll go to the second version of the provenance proofs, that is interaction proofs. Apart from storing files or file-related metadata and having provenance for those for that particular information, you can also actually provenance the events that happens in your regular day-to-day life or on your regular Web2 applications. What I mean by that is basically, let us assume today you log on to OLX or any marketplace, Web2 marketplace for that matter, and you purchased some gadget or some good by paying through fiat means, like if you paid rupee or dollar or whatever it is, right? So for example, in that use case, today it's very tough to prove that you have paid something and you have made a fiat payment. If something goes wrong, you want to go back to the court and you want to do something, it's very tough to prove that you have paid something, your purchase, and your conversation happening on those application. So using this solution, basically you can easily integrate, you can easily provenance the fact, whatever the interaction, we call that as interaction. Basically, the fact that you have purchased some item by paying some X amount. It may not be crypto, it may be just fiat currency, right? So you can use this solution to build such applications which can easily get integrated to your existing Web2 solutions. And there are also API docs available for this. You can go take a look at our API docs. Coming to the next solution, the next solution is basically compute. We and our team are closely working on building our own a computation environment, basically, and we are building a new language called Coco. So we'll be releasing that in the next. Releasing that in the next release. So you'll get to see a new language called Coco, which is very similar to Golang and Rust. Right. And being said that, as Ananta and Ganesh told, that we are a network for metaverses. Basically, we want to support as a protocol infrastructure the scale at what metaverses are going to be. Right. So today it's very tough for a regular Web2 application to get onto a metaverse use case or something like that. Right. So we are trying to build general purpose APIs, basically, which you can directly integrate with your existing solution. No hassle and bustle of deploying a contract, managing a contract again and again, paying gas fees and all this stuff. You can directly use our white labeled APIs. We call them as digital asset APIs to integrate with your existing solution. With these APIs, you can build a lot of cool stuff like you can build marketplaces, you can leverage the multi-fiat liquidity which is available. You can pay in fiat and still you can make the power of a blockchain network and something like that. And apart from this, a few of our adopters basically are building cool use cases using this APIs that we have built. One such is a real estate tokenization application, which is being built for Asian and Indian markets. And you can also build a lot of other use cases as well. So this is it. And being said that, basically we could say, I would like to conclude saying that you can leverage Moi to solve real world problems in a very practical fashion by unleashing the power of user context. So we can make the best use of the user's context and build solutions or technologies which are very close to the business requirements. After this, I would like to hand over to Pankaj, who would guide you to set up a validator network and be part of Moi network. Thank you so much. We will be available to take your questions over Discord and Telegram.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you for explaining so clearly amazing product Moi has built. Hi all, my name is Pankaj Nayak. I work here as a core protocol developer and I take care of network and storage. Today I'll be walking you through how easy it is to become part of our network. So I'll be sharing my screen and I'll be taking you to Validator.Moi.Technology.
Pankaj, your voice is too low.
Hello.
Yeah, now it's better. Thank you.
So welcome to our Validator.Moi.Technology website. This is a website where we have laid out all the information for the user to become a validator.
Sorry, Pankaj, your voice is still not clear.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
So
yeah, now you're clear, Pankaj. Yeah.
So this is our website where we have laid out all the information for the users to become, just follow these steps and become part of the network. So today we support majority of the operating systems. We support Linux, we support Windows, we support Mac OS, we support Docker, and very soon we are gonna come up with Raspberry Pis too. Now, there are 4 basic steps in order to create, in order to become part of our network. First is to create a Moi ID. So I'll be heading over to Moi ID section. Now we are also trying to make, becoming a validator, we want to make it in a democratic process. I'll be logging in. Now, this is our Moi ID dashboard. And the picture which you can see in the middle, this is, digital me. So now there are multiple, parts of a human being. There are multiple interactions a human do in his daily life. So first, is his personal information. Then we have his social information, financial information. Then we have health related information. Then we have social information. Now today, in order to become part of the network, in order to become a validator, it is mandatory to have a KYC. You have to attach your KYC here. You have to enter your KYC and then start the verification process. We have tied up with BUIDL, the government of India, in order to verify your KYC. Now there is a section called My Interaction, where whenever whenever you add any node, you can see here that you can see that interactions here. Now there is one more section, My Validator sections. After you add a node, we will come back here. After you become a part of the network, you can come here and see your incentivization and other attributes. Now I'll be demonstrating you how exactly to become part of the network and then the validator. So I have a Linux environment, and I'll be showcasing how to become a validator in Linux environment. So I'm just copy pasting that command. Now, if you can see, the binary is getting downloaded. Now we just have to start this process. I'll be entering my Moi ID username, Moi ID password. Now, when we create a Moi ID and we attach a KYC, per KYC today, you can add up to 12 nodes. Now, there is a possibility today that you can protect each and every node. So in this step, I'll be protecting this node with the password. If you see, my authentication have passed, my KYC is verified. and I have become a part of the network. That's it. This is how easy it is to become a validator in our network. Now, I'll be heading over to, definitely after creating, becoming a part of the network, we want to go and monitor our nodes. So I'll be heading back to our Moi ID dashboard. Now, if you see in this screen, we can see exactly where we are running our nodes. Now, if you see, I have 8 nodes running locally, and I have 1 node which is in Germany. Now, I'll be clicking on this node, and we will you will see 4 sections. First section is talking about incentivization. So this section basically tells that how many incentivization you have received till date. So for me, I have received till date 830 tokens. Now you can also, so there is a graph where you can go and see your last 7 days of information. Then the second section is very important. This is about heartbeat. This is about liveliness of your node. You can see, what is actually happening is, every 1 hour your node is sending some kind of information in the network. And here you see a graph. Whenever there is an up and down in this graph, there's some, something there's a possibility that there could be something wrong happening in your node. So we suggest that you log into your node, go and see, monitor your process, whether everything is right or wrong. And if you still face any problem, you can come to our Discord channel, where we are there to help you guys out. Now, the third section is proof of storage section. So what actually, so today in this testnet, right, we have one application called MOI. Similarly, there could be multiple applications which can be built on top of it. Wherever there is a need to store a global truth, so we have APIs. We can use those APIs to store those global truths. So today, in the Moi application, whenever there is an activity happens on a Moi application, so Moi is basically a marketplace for NFT. So whenever there is a buy and whenever there is a sell, that proofs comes and gets stored in the network. Now, when you become part of the network by adding a validator, these proofs comes and actually get stored on your node. So we run a small protocol which goes and verifies that you are actually storing that data. Now, if you see the graph, for me, it has been 100%. I have been proving. Yeah, if you see, my success rate is 100%. It has attempted 4 times, and we also have a timestamp when this verification happened. Now, the fourth section is about number of pins. So whenever there is a transaction happens on the application side and the truth gets stored in the network, so this is that number, the total number of transactions your node is storing. So, this is how easy it is to become part of a network. And today they are, it's a very, this binary, Moi.Pot binary is a very lightweight process. So the first recommended hardware is specific, any device with having a 4 GB of RAM and 500 GB of storage, you can become a validator. But going further, we are gonna come up with more releases. This binary is gonna have more capabilities, and it will require more processing power and more storage. So our recommended hardware spec today is to have 8 GB of RAM and 1 TB of storage. And we have a goal, we have a goal to build this network and reach up to 50,000 nodes, validators by January 2023. And as of now, you have if you have 1 node, there's a possibility of earning up to 6,000 tokens by the end of this year. So I'll request and I urge, to become a part of network, see how easy it is and reap the benefits. With that, I would request Sai to introduce about Moi ID. Thank you.
Hi, hello everyone. Thank you, Pankaj. Hello, yes. Thank you, Pankaj, for demonstrating that we don't really need to be a crypto guy to become a part of to become a validator and be part of the people's network. So hi everyone, I am Prashant. I'm taking care of cryptography, identity, and middleware in the Moi protocol. Apart from that, I'm also leading the application development at Server Labs and also developer relations when required. So as part of like introducing the vision of Moi, you must understand that Moi is a participant-centric protocol which aims to bring the personalization to users' digital life. So it is obvious that we need to identify and structure the participant preferences based on their interaction behavior. Moi achieves this by introducing the network resource called context, which Ganesh has demonstrated. But so this context gradually get resolved into a Moi ID. So and also Moi ID leverages the real life behavior like birth, growth, sustain, and death. In real life, the growth of an individual depends on their behavior in the environment, geographical conditions, and also social relationships with the family and friends. Similarly, the Moi ID is dependent on the network-induced behavior, topological conditions, and the peers that the Moi ID, like the user, have been interacting with. Okay, let's see this in action. So for that, obviously, we need to set up a Moi ID. Let me share the screen. Hope you can see my screen. So would like to set up my Moi ID. So Sai in Moi. So this turns down to be your name service. And then setting up password, which is zero knowledge enabled proof. With that, we could able to set up the username and then seed phrase, which is 12-word seed phrase. So I'll just paste this for backing it up purposes and then solve the challenge. 5th and length, pride and bamboo. Yes. So let's give some time to set it up. Yeah, so we'll be reentering once again. So as you have born digitally, so it's time for you to grow. For the very reason we have come up with a very most important component of Moi ID called Digital Me. So in which we have categorized the data component in Digital Me into 4 dimensions, which is basic information, basic dimension, financial dimension, health dimension, and social dimension. So let's try build up myself. So for that, I would like to add basic information. Say Sai Server Labs, and then give my phone number. And I am in Moi. Let's try submitting it up. So my profile got updated, and then we will see what are there in my interactions till now. So I just joined Moi ID. So I bought digitally 1 minute ago. So now I would like to walk you through how we can actually use Moi ID in digital as well as real-time applications. So for that I would like to use my web2 application, like web2 application, which is getting migrated to web4, which is Moi, which is in progress. Just load up my site, which is in progress. So yeah, I would like to participate in this event, for which I need to enter the username I just created and then give my password. Yes, I would like to join. Yeah, so I need to enter a basic information. Says hi, email is taken, phone number, portfolio. developer, Moi. So with that, I would like to go ahead and participate in the event. Yes, so my application got stored in MOIBIT, and then which is MOIBIT, which is a privacy-enabled personalized secure storage. So I would just go through my account again and then see my interactions. So here is the proof that you have registered to the event, so that which is immutable and obviously a tamper-proof. So what just happened here is you let me how I can explain this is how in your real life you go through an event, interact with the people, and so that you grow your network. You did the same thing when you register to this event. Uh, when you register to this event, all the peers who register for this event will also come into your context. So, and that the fact that your relationship with him or her started at this event has been propagated globally, and then all this will come into your context. So this is one kind of mechanism for the context propagation that can help you tomorrow for personalizing the preferences when you want to interact with him or in this someone in the group later on. So in summary, you must agree with me that Moi ID is not another identity, but it's digital you. So you can use Moi ID to personalize your digital self and experience the freedom of real life in digital. Thank you. So with that, I would like to invite Arun to demonstrate like how you can use Explorer.
Yeah, thank you, Sai. Thank you for your brief demo of Moi ID. Hi, all. Hope you all doing good. I'm Arun Prakash. I'm taking care of web and mobile app development in Serva. So today here I'm walking you through our own Explorer, which is called Moi Voyage. Uh, Let us get into the demo directly. Yeah. Yeah, this is the landing page of our Explorer, our Moi Voyage. Yeah, Moi Voyage. Moi Voyage is something like a block explorer for a Moi testnet, which is called Indus Testnet. Yeah, here you could see by default our Explorer is connected to Moi testnet. And here you could see we can choose a network. In future, we are going to release more phases. And in future, if you have your own node, you can able to connect by using this custom RPC URL also. And yeah, here we have the several sections like a validator, incentivize, and here you could see the latest test racks. We'll go through one by one. Yeah, here you can see the validators. Currently in our network, there are 137 validators as part of our testnet. Here is the total number of validators you could see. Let's get into see what is there in the validator. Yeah. Here, once you're landing in this validator page, here you can see the overall validators in all over the overall validators in the network and where they are located in the world, like all over the world. Here you can see, you can track of the validators, and below here you can see the same list, same validators in the list view, and here you could see the CRUM ID. CRUM ID is the identifier, unique identifier of the validator, and it's a combination of the metadata of the node and its pair ID. Here, as when in the Pankaj demo, as he mentioned, every validator has to be KYC verified. So those details you can track here. Here you could see the CRUM ID of the validator and the KYC verified, and we'll see what is there in the validator. Yeah. Yeah, here this CRUM ID is nothing but the one of the validator, and here you could see how this validator got incentivized in the network, and those details. Here you could see the list of incentivized and who processed the incentives and what is the incentive for the validators. Here it's complete in the detailed view, and he is getting the incentives in every period of time. Those timestamp we can see here, and the next section is the incentives. Yeah, here you could see 17.31K Moi tokens is the total number of Moi tokens that distributed for the validators in the network. I'll go into it. Yeah, here in this incentive page, here you could see like who the list of the CRAM ID got the incentives here. Like here, for example, like if you take this as this one, like this CRAM ID got 40 incentive at 5 minutes ago, and this is the hash of that incentives. And when you just expand it, you could see like who processed this incentive, at what time he got that incentivization. Like here you can track the complete statistics of the incentives over the network. And the next you could see the Tesseract. Yeah, Tesseract is the advanced level of the block in Moi. Here, all interactions will be persist as a block in Moi. Here, when you see one Tesseract, yeah, here you could see the Tesseract hash. And here below you could see who generated the Tesseract, at what timestamp the Tesseract has generated, and what is the hash of the Tesseract interaction hash, and the signature payload. You could get the complete proof of the Tesseract here. And yeah, at this level, we have the very minimalistic explorer for the testnet. In upcoming days, we are going to elaborate more and more. And people who wants to start building on our testnet, please use our docs to refer more and more details. And if people want to know about what is Tesseract means, like please go through our technical paper, and you'll get to know about the more details about the Tesseract. And people who is not a part of Validator yet, please, there is a link we provided in that Explorer. Please become a validator. Please join with us and become a validator. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for such a lovely session. I hope a lot of you have your doubts cleared. And I'm sure people will have two questions at this point. First, how they can claim the NFT that I promised in the beginning of the session. So to do that, you have to follow Moi Tech on Twitter. We will be asking 3 questions about Moi over the next 48 hours. I promise we'll try to make them easy ones. You have to reply with my own internet and INDUS Testnet hashtags. We'll be using a random algorithm to pick 15 answers, and the winners will be announced by the Monday evening. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you people, especially the developers, might want to connect with the team and understand more about our technology, our vision, and other things. I request you all to scan this QR code. It will take you to our website, to our dev docs, to our Discord channel. Especially people who are looking to become validators, I do recommend them to join our Discord. If you have any questions, the team is available on our Telegram community channel, and we'll be happy to answer any doubts that you have. So with this, I'll conclude today's session.